Should have saved it for the show, man.
Yeah, that's how we should have opened now that we're live. Hello, nerds, and welcome. We are Crossing the Nerdverse, bringing you yet another episode. My name is Travis. I'm joined, as always, by my fantastic co-host, Eric. We are without James and Ryan this week. Ryan is feeling a little under the weather. He is experiencing the gifts of Papa Nurgle. And James is out doing great and wonderful things with FEMA.
Whatever.
I still don't understand his job. He's explained it to me in depth. Something to do with math. I mean, that was kind of my thoughts on it, but
he's going to miss
gets to live their own
WrestleMania.
life. I don't think he's super into WrestleMania, I'm being honest. He's actually a big fan of a lot of people in New Japan. His favorite wrestler is currently Mizuki, the Whirling Candy.
I know that is.
She does that crazy, like, spiral cross body. It's really wild to watch. But yeah, her name's Mizuki, the Whirling Candy.
I've never heard of her. I need to start watching New Japan though.
You should definitely check her out. Like that finishing move is bananas.
I'll check it out. It sounds
It's
like
so
WWE and New Japan might be having some kind of crossover soon. Did you see that?
I'm hoping so, dude. I'm really liking the fact that the Forbidden Door has gone down.
Right.
Eric, are we live on YouTube's? The Forbidden Door.
Yeah,
wrestling companies were notorious about like not speaking to one another.
Oh.
So they would just pretend that neither like other companies didn't exist for the most part, and no wrestlers were allowed to like cross over in any way, shape, or form. So they called it the Forbidden Door. But the Forbidden Door is now open for the most part. Actually, and a lot of that's thanks to AEW. They were kind of the first ones to really push that kind of thing. And that was a big boon for the fans too. Everybody likes a good crossover. The problem is how you book people in those events, because it's going to get real touchy. And it's definitely something that could not have happened during the McMahon era, like at all. Because he would have just been like, all of my guys are winning, or else we're not doing this.
Did you see the April Fool about him buying like some wrestling organization?
There were so many articles. There was like, he's starting a new wrestling company and stuff like that. I'm like, no, he's not. Nobody'd go to it. That man, like, he could open a new promotion. He'd have like a bunch of people from the ages of like 45 to 60, and then be like, "Where's Gerald Briscoe?" and like shit like that, like whatever. I'd make that sound as if Gerald Briscoe was like a negative thing on wrestling. I actually like Gerald Briscoe.
I don't know. I think if McMahon started a new company, I do think he'd have a following, which sucks.
Of course he would.
Yeah, there's no reason for it either. The dude's just an absolute psycho anymore, really. I guess scumbag is also a good word to use about it.
It has been for a long time.
After like the last like 5 to 10 years that he was in charge of WWE was a little, I guess, roller coastery is a good way to put it.
I would say even longer than that, man.
Lots of human trafficking.
Yeah. And doing favors for spots on the card.
Anyway, we're not going to talk about that. Because if he hears this, he'll sue us.
Bring it on.
He'll sue you. I didn't say any of it.
Not that he's going to be able to work YouTube, I don't think.
It's kind of
never heard of that channel. What's on YouTube's? Anyway.
Be a great way to become famous.
Right?
That's true.
We're going to knock out like go-tos at the beginning right here. So first things first, like, follow, share, subscribe, hit all those fun algorithm buttons. You guys know the deal. All that normal stuff. Check out our website. It has links to everything, including previous episodes. If you guys want to get caught up on all our wrestling opinions, they can easily be found there. Spoiler alert, I'm the only one that has strong opinions about wrestling.
Yes. I like more of the older stuff. Which is
why we brought in Scott, because he's willing to fight with me over this stuff.
Except you and I share mostly the same views.
Yeah, we're pretty aligned. So yeah, that's all of our fun algorithm-y stuff. So we're going to get into this episode. We're going to be talking about our favorite and least favorite special stipulation matches. So anything that's got weird rules or special circumstances, things like that. But first, Scott missed last week.
I did.
And so we're going to have to get his picks for the WrestleMania match cards for night 1 and 2. These are in no particular order. The official match cards weren't announced when we did this, so we'll just start at the top and work our way down. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Punk Roman or Rollins?
I think
I'm writing them down, by the way. This is going to be official.
I'm afraid they're going to go Rollins to try and throw people off, which I think is the wrong decision. But I also think this is a really stupid match to start with. So
yeah, it's a really weird night one main event.
Yeah, like they're fighting over
Paul Heyman. They're fighting for custody of Paul Heyman.
Yeah, like an older fat dude. They're like, no, I want him. Come on.
And none of them are going to get a belt anytime soon.
So he picked Rollins. You and Eric are in company on the pick with Rollins. I picked Punk. I think he and Triple H have been getting along really well backstage here recently. They share a lot of opinions on the development of the company.
But here's why I think Rollins. I think they're leaning hard into the whole Paul Heyman owes me a favor thing. So he's going to pull that. But the main reason is Seth's character is really stale. And he does not need Paul at all. But I think that would be a way to refresh him. And I don't think Roman needs it. I don't think Punk needs it. I think they would benefit from Seth using him the most, even though he doesn't need him.
I mean, to go with the track record, there is not a single person that Paul Heyman has backed or been an advocate or a mouthpiece for that has not done phenomenally well with him attached to him.
Curtis Axel, huge fail.
True.
Cesaro was. I wish they did better.
Cesaro got done dirty, but that was after Heyman, though.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. See, if they had left him attached, I think it would have gone a long way. Cesaro was a wildly underutilized dude in WWE. That guy. The Swiss Superman.
I just picked the guy I picked because I don't like Roman Reigns. And CM Punk's too flaky, so they can't put a lot of faith in anything he does, because he'll eventually throw a temper tantrum backstage, like some small juvenile child, and then leave and be like, I'm going somewhere else. And then he'll leave.
I don't think it's going to be that way. I think
he's
there was a lot of things.
It seems like he has, but I do suspect that at some point. He has a really strong track record. Even in AEW, it happened just a few years ago.
And they gave him like everything he wanted, and he still blew up.
Right.
He never wanted to be the title holder. He said that right after one. He's like, I didn't want this, and he didn't. He wanted to do stories and have matches and get crowd reactions. But that's neither here nor there. We're gonna jump straight to main event night 2. Cody or Cena?
It is going to be Cena. It has to be. Yes. And I'll tell you what I think is going to happen versus what I wish would happen. I really would I think they're going to redo WrestleMania 40 main event. They're going to just have guys running out constantly, right? I wish Orton would come out and turn and align with Rock and Cena. And that would instantly set up Cody to have somewhere to go with, someone he already has history with. And then we could set up the Summer of Cena with his Reign of Terror.
Yeah.
What I'm positive is going to happen is Jay is going to be the one to join him. And then he'll be the world champ for Rock. Cena will be the world champ for Rock. And I wish Jey Uso would just disappear into the ocean. I hate that guy.
And I don't mind Jey Uso. I really don't. I don't think he needs to be in the spot he's in. But Triple H makes a good point. The crowd is wildly behind him, and sometimes you just got to give the crowd what they want.
All he has. He has 3 moves he does poorly and says yeet, and the crowd's like, yeah, cool. That's all he has, dude. And that he's
but everybody's picked Jay over Gunther because there's no way he's not winning that title.
Right.
They can't lose 4 times. You can't.
He's the same guy for the same title.
From a straight up marketing standpoint, them using the shot of the crowd going bananas doing the yeet thing is going to be on everything. I'm calling it right now. It'll be on ESPN and all the sports crap, and they're going to push it as so many views on their social media, even though it's going to get majority of downvotes. It's just going to be a spot they're going to use to promote how great Mania is.
He's going to get the title. He'll hold it for a few months. He's going to drop it, hopefully to Braun Breaker.
I would love that.
Push Braun Breaker to the moon. Breaker. Just so I can see that dude everyone in half. God, that spear is so good.
I miss when they used to do cool things, like when the crowd would fill in and say things like, The Rock always had. You smell what the Rock is cooking, and the crowd would always finish it for him when he started it. And same with Austin had something. I don't know what the point of Yeet is.
Austin had so much stuff. The Watt chant still happens. That's gonna be in WWE forever. Honestly, it's in AEW too. You'll see those guys get on the mic and they'll just start shouting "What" every time that they take a breath. Next match: Bianca, Rhea, or Io.
I have not followed this at all. I love Bianca and I love Rhea, but it just makes no sense. I'm gonna say Bianca.
That's who I picked. The reason I picked Bianca is because it sets up easy feud for Jade Cargill to put her in a world title position because she's already feuding with Naomi, which we'll get to that match in a moment. But that gives her an instant feud with Bianca.
That's very
and it
smart.
keeps Rhea Ripley from looking weak, so we can have Titan versus Titan down the road.
That's smart.
The only thing, I feel bad with the way they're treating Io on this one.
Yeah,
she wins it. I'm not worried.
Okay. Next match: Tiffany Stratton, Charlotte Flair.
I hope Tiffany cripples Flair out there.
Jesus.
It's Tiffy time. That's what I'm talking about, Scott. Dude, that's what I'm talking about.
Charlotte is the most overrated woman that has ever existed, and she's such a piece of... Can we swear on here?
Work?
Yeah.
We'll just say piece
of
work.
Yeah, we're not famous enough not to swear yet. So even if they take us off of live YouTube, it won't matter.
And I don't really
not to be mean about our show.
I don't really share the disdain for Charlotte Flair like a lot of people. She's definitely been one of the hardest, pushed people in the women's division.
Think about when she was in there with Becky and throwing the belt around because she was angry where she is, and then she's out there saying this crap, trying to rattle Tiffany, and she.
To be fair, Tiffany took the real world shot first.
Well, fair, but in my opinion, it's deserved. And as just something that does not matter, but I can't unsee, she looks like Cher with a teenage boy's body.
Oh, that's so mean but funny.
She's had some work done. But you know what? Her dad's had just as many, so
and I got nothing.
You got to carry on the family tradition. You know?
I don't care about that at all. I just can't stand her in any way, shape, or form.
The saddest match on the card for me: Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight for the U.S. title.
I think they're going to give it to Jacob, which would be great, but LA Knight should be in Jey Uso's spot. End of story.
I 100% agree. I think he gets just as good crowd reactions. He's better. He's cleaner in ring.
He's a great wrestler.
He doesn't have a massive repertoire of moves, but the ones he pulls off, he does very well. He gets good crowd reactions. Everybody still chants "yeah" when he finishes his LA Knight thing. They cheer for him. But yeah, they're going to feed him to Jacob Fatu. Easy way to get a Solo Sikoa story going where the bloodline falls apart.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Next one, our IC title match: Dominic, Finn Balor, Braun Breaker, and Penta.
I think they've had little subtle hints for the Demon coming back. I think Demon Finn Balor's coming back. He'll take the title. That's going to set up Finn versus the Judgment Day. It's going to free up Braun to go after the world title. I don't know what's going to happen with Penta, but I hope good things.
I hope good things too. I'm really hoping for a Lucha Bros reunion in the near future because they did sign Rey Fenix. So
he's already on SmackDown.
Yeah. So
I would suspect they'll give him a year or two.
Yeah, like I said, I'm hyped for a Lucha Bros reunion down the road. Those two dudes have such great chemistry together. I picked Dom because that sets up the fall of the Judgment Day with the feud between Dom and the Judgment Day versus Finn. It gives Finn a chance to go face again.
Oh, true.
Dom gets to be the skeevy title holder, which I feel like is something he's going to be so unbelievably good at.
I'm not going to change my pick, but I think you're right and I'm wrong.
Going with Finn. Our next one, and this one makes me sad as well, but we got AJ Styles versus Logan Paul.
Is there even a point to that?
To enhance Paul.
Yeah. AJ's almost done with his career just putting people over. Logan's going to use his social media thing to tout that again. That's all they're doing with him.
And they got to keep Paul at least threatening.
Right.
With the way they use him, so they have to make him credible. If he loses to AJ, credibility tanks. So
yeah,
we're in agreement on that one. Paul wins for enhancement reasons. The next one, probably the easiest pick out of every single match card. We got Jade Cargill versus Naomi.
Something I know exactly zero about. I think Naomi is super obnoxious. I have since day one. I'm going to go with Jade just because I love her. I love that she's a powerhouse, and she is a big X-Men fan, so extra points.
Yeah, she had a Storm get up on one of hers. Yeah, got it.
Her theme music is based on the X-Men, the old 97 cartoon.
I'm going to have to give that a listen again. But yeah, that was unanimous across the board on that one. We all picked Jey Uso over Gunther, and we all picked Jade over Naomi. Super easy pick on that one. Last match, and probably the one that has the most mystery around it. That's going to be El Grande Americano, who's definitely not Chad Gable, versus Rey Mysterio.
And he's officially from the Gulf of Mexico now. Did you see that?
Yeah, Gulf of America.
No, they changed it. They changed it.
Is it back?
Yeah, back to Gulf of Mexico. I mean, I hope it's Gable or not Gable.
It's not Gable. It's El Grande Americano.
Yeah,
it's definitely not Chad Gable. Chad Gable said it wasn't. He's not Grande Americano.
Well, he doesn't lie. So
why would he? He's the American Alpha.
Are we going to talk about Orton?
Did they pick his partner? Oh, we have to talk about the tag team match too, because we got tag team action that finally got decided. It's the New Day versus the Viking Raiders.
Two teams that have fallen so hard. I used to be such a fan of both of them. I'm going to give it to New Day because I've been a fan of theirs for 10 years.
Same. I like heel New Day. They're fun.
I'm not into it.
I do. They betrayed Big E in the most devastating way possible, and like the most unforgivably emotional thing I have seen on wrestling in a long time. I was like, I'm into it. Like, I'm down.
Okay, I'll give you that. But I was hoping. I really want the payoff. I'm sure we'll never get of Big E coming back and just squashing because I think Big E should be the face of that damn company. I love that man.
How can you not love Big E? He's the power of positivity, baby.
Right. But they just like throw him in the trash and like, all right, well now we'll make you a mid-card tag team if you're lucky.
Like, yeah, they fed him to the wolves. It's because he's short.
Yeah.
Fuck them then.
Like Eric with the fucking heat and just immediately, hey, I hope there's not any kids listening.
You're allowed to be short. I mean, all our stuff's explicit. I don't even like haphazard guesses when I put videos up. I'm like, I don't remember what we said because I don't watch them before I post them. It's already done. So I'm like, I don't know if we swore in this clip, so it's explicit. Everything.
Did we get a match announcement for Orton? Is he?
No, I suspect they're gonna bring back Aleister Black as kind of a surprise.
I'd be down for that. I miss him so much. He's gonna get lost in the shuffle again because it's so hard. Like, what do you do with Aleister Black?
Well, and they've re-signed so many people. Their roster is through the roof right now, which is cool, but like, there's only so much time, and I don't want to sit through 4 hours of Raw and 4 hours of SmackDown to get everybody in.
No, it's hard. Yeah, it's like I said, it's rough. I wouldn't mind seeing Aleister Black go back to NXT and just kind of clean shop for a little while. I think that would be an okay place for him to land. With all due respect to Aleister Black and the amazing things that he can do, Black Mass still just chef's kiss. A fantastic finishing move because it's something that can devastatingly actually knock somebody out.
Oh, absolutely, and he's a trained martial artist, so like it legit could happen.
Honestly, one of my favorite things that he did in NXT was when he would pick people up with his toe and get them into the standing position because it's just so unbelievably disrespectful.
Yeah,
I do love it.
It gives me that 80s like bad guy movie villain vibe where it's just oh, it's scummy.
He totally is a James Bond villain. That's true.
Yeah, he just hits them with that black mass and then down they go and I'm like, yeah. Love it.
I do
Loved
love
it
that.
when he did it to Cody on the 3-peat.
I don't remember that. Was that an AEW?
Yeah, that was AEW. That would be a wild feud to start if, whatever reason, Cody retains. Aleister Black comes out of the darkness, sleeps Cody again because Cody's got a terrible track record against Aleister Black.
I would be okay with
Cody
that.
for life.
I think Cody Rhodes is like 1 for 5 against Aleister Black on any given. Yeah,
I want to see him do the Carlton.
Malachi Black in AEW. The Carlton, Cody Rhodes or Aleister Black?
Both of them together in the ring.
The answer is yes.
To the Carlton. All right, and with that, we'll get into the meat of our episode. We're going to be talking about special stipulation matches, and this covers pretty much everything that's not your standard, like 1, 2, 3, pinfall and/or submission. So things like cage matches, ladder matches, to go into really terrible ones, body bag matches, gigantic turkeys hatching out of eggs in the middle of WrestleMania.
Oops.
I think I just triggered a repressed memory for Scott. He was like, ugh. For those of you that haven't seen that, go look it up. There was a giant turkey that hatched at a WrestleMania event.
I think it was Survivor Series, wasn't it?
I still do anything.
It was Survivor Series. That's right.
You know,
that's right.
And I remember, I was a young kid, and I remember seeing that, and even as, super young, I was like, that's stupid.
You're muted.
So bad. Sorry, I had a big mouthful of ice.
Yeah,
that's that. A mouthful of ice, huh?
Out of everyone here, the only throat goat is Eric. He got promoted way more than I did.
It took a long time, though. I didn't get promoted quick.
You must not have been good at it.
It took my
That's
time.
all I've got to say about that.
That's valid.
Practice makes perfect, and perfect makes promotions.
I think it was more because I drank a lot with everybody.
That should have been a shoe-in for Sergeant Major material.
I know, but unfortunately.
Divorce, DUI, and drinking problems used to be requirements for Sergeant First Class.
Okay, I was going to say, I never got a DUI. That's
probably why you never made it to Sergeant First Class. You should have.
There's still time.
Yeah. It's not. Well, no, I think Eric's a teetotaler now.
I'm a what?
He's living a teetotaler. He's living that healthy lifestyle.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to move on. I can't believe you don't know what teetotaler is.
I don't.
We'll talk about it after the show. I'm going to buy you a thesaurus. That's not a dinosaur, by the way. It's a book.
I know. I had to use it when I went to college because I didn't know enough English words to write my papers.
Just write them in French. You're Canadian.
Not
you're not that type of Canadian.
No. So, yeah, I know what a thesaurus is.
Okay. Good for you.
I'm very proud of that.
We'll start with you then, man. What's your favorite stipulation match?
Dude, it's got to be tables, ladders, and chairs. Just because I used to love watching, and I'll still watch it sometimes, like the Hardy Boys. I think that's really what got them over on it.
That was the first
WWE.
TLC match. Hardys, Edge and Christian, and the Dudleys.
Was the first one at WrestleMania 2000? Was that the first one?
Let's look it up. I know who the participants were, but I can't remember which one. SummerSlam 2000.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Well, hands down, the best, and that made a lot of people's careers.
Well, yeah.
Well, for sure.
They were the Dudleys and the Hardys
division on fire.
Dudleys and Hardys, without that, I don't think they'd be as big as they were.
No, never.
Christian still would have because they had a great storyline, but the other two, I don't think.
Christian wildly
overrated.
Underappreciated. No, underappreciated for his skills. Christian, you're out of your mind.
Overrated.
Christian Cage, overrated. Edge is overrated by comparison. Christian Cage, in my opinion, between the two, was always the more talented one.
And that's why he didn't make it.
No, he didn't make it because he had backstage heat.
Yeah. I actually think Christian was the more talented guy, but I think Edge got it because he got that story where he was fucking Matt's girlfriend, and that launched him into being a heel. I don't think without that, I don't think he would have ever gone.
I don't think so either. I think that was literally the launching point for his successful singles run. And Christian has been wildly successful in other companies. AEW, TNA, New Japan, not NJP. Oh, gosh. I think it's PNW, something like that. All of which, again, wildly successful. He's been to so many different promotions and done really well. He's held world titles. He cuts devastating promos. He always is a believable character, whether it's heel or face. And I think he just does it better than Edge does. Now, don't get me wrong. Edge is wildly charismatic.
But Christian is hilarious and can be a piece of shit, which is
he can be so scummy. Yeah. So like I said, between the two, I think the real life heat between Matt and Edge, not to mention the publicity that got when word got out that WWE just straight up fired Matt Hardy, was really the jumping point for Edge's career. But yeah, I mean, SummerSlam 2000 really reignited the entire tag division with stuff like that, because you had the Dudley Boys, who became notorious for the table spots, right? Diva, get the tables, and like everyone. They did the "What's Up" thing from the top. That was always great.
Yeah, I just thought that was hilarious.
Do you remember that spot, Eric?
No.
It'd be where Bubba Ray would be holding their legs like spread apart, and he would look up at Devon, who would be up on the turnbuckle, and he'd be like, "What the?" And like Devon would do a, and then he would just do a flying headbutt into somebody's crotch, and like it was hilarious that was one of their big match spots.
They were good though. They were very charismatic. Not like they were athletic, but they didn't look it. But like they were better on the mic than anything.
Feared for poor brother Devon, who had a notorious fear for heights. He didn't like getting on the top turnbuckle. That's how extreme his like fear of heights was. And they gave him so many top ladder spots in that TLC. He was like, I don't want to do any of this. And they're like, you'll be fine. Just dangle from the thing up there. I don't want to do that. And Jeff was like, well, I'll do that.
But see, you got to give him credit though, because you couldn't really tell.
No, like, I couldn't tell. Like, yeah, he sucked it up great, but like every time he's just like, oh, fuck it. Like, I don't want to be up on top of this ladder. And they're like, it's just a 15-foot ladder. He's like, that's 15 feet too high, dog.
Dude,
like, I'm not trying to
pay me that kind of money, man. You'd throw me off or whatever. I'm good.
I don't think so. I hate heights. I think I'd rather be poor.
Yeah, there's some stuff that I'm not willing. I've seen a lot of stuff that like Mick Foley's done, and I'm just like, no, there's no money that would make me do that.
Yeah. Oh no, there's certain things like I wouldn't go to the extreme.
I'm not getting body slammed onto tacks, man. That
was his choice. He told them he wanted to do that. There's a difference here. There wasn't too many people. They didn't go up to him and be like, "Hey man, what do you think about thumbtacks in your spine?" He was like, "Hey, what do you guys think about me laying down some thumbtacks?"
Honestly, one of my favorite spots was in AEW, where they made fun of the thumbtack spot, because it's been done a lot, and they poured out Legos instead, and that shit was pretty funny.
I didn't see that.
That's a good. You should look up the Lego spot. It's pretty funny. He like just lifts up the bag and dumps it out, and it's just Lego bricks.
That would be awful.
Yeah, when the crowd was super behind it. They were like, I was like, that
would hurt so bad.
That was It's a bunch of
I think I'd still rather take Legos over thumbtacks, though.
You wait till your kid's a little older and leaving them Legos everywhere, and you start stepping on them bombs all over the place.
I used to step on goat. I grew up in New Mexico. I stepped on goat heads growing up. That's way worse. That's way worse.
Landmines?
Yeah, dude, those are way worse than any Lego. I'm sorry. They got like springs on them, like over a quarter-inch long. Those things are devastating.
Yeah, that brought up repressed memories. Awful.
My daughter fell into like a whole bush of those when she was real little. I had to pick them all off of her. It was horrible. I felt like the worst parent ever.
My sister would make me mad. I'd pluck the grass spurs when they were still on the grass before they fell to the ground, and I would throw them onto the back of her legs when she was wearing shorts.
Psychopath.
My sister, a lot of people don't believe me when I say this. My sister was mean to me, and I was mean right back. Both of us were just absolutely devastating.
I think it's the perk of being siblings. That's just how it works.
Yeah, I think that's just how it goes.
On a serious note, in regards to all this stuff, I have to say, whenever I see spots in wrestling with like ridiculous violence, I'm generally not a big fan. I don't think it's something you need to do, but somehow Mick Foley was always able to sell me on it. Like we talked about it before the show. I don't like it, like people using weird weapons, thumbtacks, shit like that usually, but like I don't know, when he did it, it was like, I don't want to say enjoyable because that kind of sounds sadistic, but like it was something like, but like you didn't mind it for some weird reason because it was him. But I can't get into anybody else doing that stuff.
He hip pocketed it. Because like you look at a lot of his matches, and like he took some like serious bumps, and like he would take like the beatings, in ring and stuff. But those big stipulation matches really weren't. He's known for all of them, but it's not like that was something he did every single pay-per-view, which I think gives those spots a little more meaning. when you hold off. Because again, forever etched in my mind is the Hell in a Cell with the Undertaker.
Oh, yeah, I think it's everybody. You can't be a wrestling fan if you can't call yourself a wrestling fan if you haven't watched that match. Like, I don't care what you can't. It's probably the biggest match in history.
And mad props to Jerry Lawler and JR for the way that got sold via the announce team.
Well, JR legit thought he was dead. So
yeah, by God, he killed him. He's got a family. That was always my favorite thing, is he'd shout, he's got a family. Old JR.
I mean, there was a few times, like, the way he went, like, you were like, I don't know. Like, I didn't think they were both going to come out of it healthy. I was like, Mankind's never wrestling again. That's it.
I cannot believe how well Mick Foley gets around these days. Like, the dude is still just motoring along. And I'm like, you took so many devastating shots. How are you not just like...
It's his diet of popcorn.
Also, probably my favorite Triple H story was hearing about Mick Foley selling his plane ticket and then just renting a car so he could eat that big-ass bag of popcorn.
That's why he's still going, man. He has so much popcorn in his system.
Had that soft, nougaty exterior to protect his landings. All right, Scott, we had TLC from Eric. What was your favorite stipulation match?
Judy Bagwell on a pole.
Judy Bagwell on a pole.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm going to have to look that one up.
You never saw that?
No. Is it Is it as good as the custody battle for Dominic Mysterio ladder match?
It is so much worse, but better.
Like, I gotta watch this now.
Judy Bagwell is Buff Bagwell's mom, like in real life, and she's like a legitimate helicopter parent, and so she wanted to get herself involved in the shows. They wheeled her ass out in a forklift. She's like sitting above the ring on a fucking forklift while they're fighting over her.
I remember this now. That's yeah. Oh my gosh, Judy Bagwell on a pole. Yeah. So have not watched that match, but I have heard about it.
Yeah, it's horrendous, but it's worth a watch.
I haven't watched that. It's like, because I remember the Rey Mysterio Eddie Guerrero ladder match for custody over Dom, and that's the real vibe I get from that. So.
Yeah, but it was like a really good match. The one that Buff had was a Buff Bagwell match, you know?
Yeah.
But as far as my favorite, like, I don't know if it's necessarily a match type, but the 24/7 hardcore thing they had going is by far my highlight of the Attitude Era. I love that thing so much. And Crash Holly.
Not to confuse everyone, it's not the 24/7 title that they brought back recently and then retired recently. This is the defended 24 hours a day hardcore title.
Yeah, and
I forgot about that.
Yeah, they're having like Crash Holly and the Headbangers like running through Chuck E. Cheese and pinning each other in the ball pit and like pinning the Briscoe, Gerald Briscoe while he sleeps in a hotel room or whatever it was. Just absurd stuff. It's some of the funniest things you'll ever see.
So they recreated that with the Australian guy. I can't remember his name. Blonde hair, he was shorter, had blonde slick back hair. He used to be the manager for AOP. Why can't I remember his name? He did that YouTube video where he's talking about after he got released from WWE, where he was like kind of crying and like upset. And like, he was like, but this isn't the end of my career. This is just a new beginning. And I can't remember his name right now, but they had one where he was in like a hotel room getting ready to like be intimate with someone, and someone came in and got him with like a roll up, and they were like, I think that was a backslide. And Pat McAfee goes, I would have called it a small package. And I was dying because again, Pat McAfee just so good on the announce table.
I know this is very off the subject, but Pat McAfee apparently takes like 50 milligram edibles and then goes out and performs, like calls the matches. And that's the most insane thing I've ever heard in my life. But good for him.
He also doesn't read the match cards before he goes out there, and he has wild beef with Dominic Mysterio. If you haven't watched the match between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn picks up a trash can and hits Kevin Owens, and Pat McAfee goes, "Oh my God, Sami just hit Kevin Owens with Dominic Mysterio." I was like, oh, it's so terrible. I love the fact that they beef, like, every time he comes out of Pat McAfee's there, Dom just shoots him, like, really comical, dirty looks.
I love that.
It's so good. Pat McAfee's just an absolute gem in
Absolutely.
WWE.
Anyway, sorry to get off topic, but I love that man.
But yeah, the hardcore, there's so many good, like, hardcore
matches
from the Attitude Era. They were really good. Kane had a devastating run with that title.
Oh,
Big Boss Man had it.
The Attitude Era will always be the best. You just can't.
I don't know, man. There was a lot of like bad stuff during the Attitude Era too that people just want to gloss over. Mae Young being in a relationship with Mark Henry and giving birth to a hand.
No, there was some weird stuff. Like we're not gonna.
That's
deny
not weird. That's straight up like that is just awful.
Or Val Venus in the Porn Star, and then Kai and Tai chopping his off with a katana, choppy.
When he said choppy pee, that was probably a little racist, if I'm going to be honest on that one too. Poor Kai and Tai.
And just as a total side note, I was watching that when my grandma walked in one time on that exact scene.
Choppy your pee.
Yeah, never able to recover from that one.
Yeah, no, it's held that against you for years. But there's also so many good things tied to that hardcore title. Rob Van Dam had an excellent run with it. Again, with the you have to defend it wherever, whenever story, it was very good.
And I always think about, it was from WrestleMania X7, and it was Big Show, Raven, and who was the third man in that? There was somebody else.
Those are the only two people. I thought it was just the two of them.
Was it just the two of them?
Yeah. I don't even know who Raven is.
Oh, you're missing out. Raven was crazy. But I think it was
just
Raven
Sting?
The golf cart and
no,
almost took out the entire show because he hit one of the main cables that was like supplying power to the stadium. He almost killed the entire show.
Oh, it was Raven, Big Show, and Kane.
And Kane, that's right.
Who isn't Undertaker's brother? Very sad.
Yeah, I was devastated when I found out, and they're not actually related. I won't lie.
I still choose to believe.
That's my saddest wrestling moment.
I'm embracing kayfabe. But yeah, like the really good hardcore matches. I think my favorite, I gotta go Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
It's such a unique like setup and format. There's no fall from like the ring apron to the floor. It's just that like chain floor. You've got the chain cage that goes around it that always looks so devastating when you toss people into it, you know. And then you have the easy spots with the plexiglass, like throwing people through pods. You know, you have those powerhouse dudes that get mad when they're not released and just burst out of them.
And you know, the Chamber is one of the only matches, in my opinion, that's like complicated but not convoluted. Like I can sit on, watch it with my wife and explain what's going on, and she gets
big words.
Yeah,
but like some of the
there's
other matches,
very little confusion around it. Because again, it's a 1, 2, 3. They have to be inside the ring, pinfall or submission. Anybody can go at any time. So like everybody could be out of their pod, technically, without there being a single elimination. And like you could have two eliminations happen at the same time, but it's easy for it to like point out and be like, okay, that was a pinfall, that person.
Yeah.
And I have to give it to the first one was just so well staffed with who they picked for it.
Is that the one that Shawn Michaels won?
Yeah, that was the one Shawn Michaels won.
That was a great match.
Didn't Logan Paul fight in one of those?
He's been in 2 now, I think. No, he interfered in 1. That's right. But he's been in 1. He was in 1 with when Kevin Owens was in there, and Kevin Owens is always just absolutely devastating to have in any match. He's so good. Yeah, so the first one was Kane, Booker T, Chris Jericho, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Rob Van Dam. Again, Rob Van Dam, underutilized in WWE, but he was the king of ECW.
Yeah. I mean, he came, though, at a time, like, he came at a bad time, though, too. Like, they already had so many people going that, like, he just picked the worst possible time to join WWE.
Yeah.
I mean, there was so much going on in Attitude, at the time.
The get-up they gave Rob Van Dam with just the yin-yang symbol at first was so plain.
That black outfit, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And then he was just like, I've been wearing like these wild tie-dye ones with like dragons and shit on them at these other shows. Can I do that? And they were like, he was like, all right. So he started wearing them at house shows and people got into it. And he started doing the Rob Van Dam thing with his music, and everybody got into it. So he just slowly started introducing it into televised shows. The first thing was like the singlet change, where it was like wild colors, and like he was like, nobody said anything to me about it. So I was on TV the next week, so I did it again. Nobody said anything again. So then I started doing the little RVD thing, and eventually somebody pulled me aside and they were like, man, the people are really into the thumbs to yourself. And he was like, yeah, just fucking try it. And it's like, it's been fine.
Is he related to the actor?
No.
I always wondered.
Kind of looks like him, if I'm being honest. He does look a little bit like Jean-Claude Van Damme. Yeah. No relation.
I love that he was doing the 420 leg drop, and Vince was like, "Is that a drug thing?" Robert was like, "No."
Yeah, okay. him and Rey Mysterio both were like, "No, that has nothing to do with drugs." He was like, "Oh, okay." Like, just
dumb.
Yeah, there were so many times he got suspended for weed. Like, they're like, "Where's Rob Van Dam? I popped hot again, so he's out."
He would have a much different career now because they're cleared from that, aren't they?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. That's not the stuff that they test for. They still do like hardcore steroid testing. So,
well, yeah, which is good, but
they should let him do their thing.
Yeah, let him get crazy CTE, roid rage induced stuff. That was always real good for
CTE is not
outside
good.
of the ring.
I'm not saying let them do that stuff. That's extreme here.
I want more people to drop dead in their hotel room from heart attacks. That's really.
You could do medically okay steroids and get bigger and not go crazy. People do it. Let them be big.
In baseball, there's Jason Giambroid, the perfect example.
I was just going to say, what was the most exciting time in baseball when they were chasing the 60-something fucking home runs? Everyone was all juiced up looking like Bane.
They're like, they asked Mark McGuire, and they're like, "Did you take human growth hormones?" And he was like, "Human? No. Horse? Yes."
That dude went from being smaller than me to looking like fucking Bane in 1 year.
That was Jason Giambi. Jason Giambi was like off season to like absolutely yoke. That dude was sweating when he would get to first base, and it would be like the beginning of the first inning, and he's just pouring sweat, breathing out his mouth.
That was so many of them. But super off track.
To be honest, that was everybody in wrestling too. We talked about that on one of our episodes with drug abuse in professional wrestling. Like, everybody was on steroids. They used to have a guy that just showed up in the locker room that was like, "Would you like something out of my case?"
He like opened his trench coat.
Yeah, it wasn't even a trench coat. They didn't even. It was like a duffel bag just full of drugs for people. Wild times in the locker room. Vince had no idea. They proved that in court.
Yeah, that guy of all people.
He was definitely telling the truth.
All right,
he's gonna get out to him. I have a feeling he's terrifying. No, so yeah, Elimination Chamber, definitely mine, and it's historically one of the best like gimmick matches every year consistently. Even the women's Elimination Chamber matches are getting better and better all the time. Well, honestly, a couple of years ago, the women's Elimination Chamber match was better than the men's.
Well, the big thing is they've watered down a lot of the stuff now. Like, they've done so many TLC matches, and it's not as great as it was. When they've done like so many other style matches, like Elimination Chamber is not as common as the other ones because the other ones are easier to do. You could kind of just throw together. You could just start doing a TLC out of nowhere, pull some shit out from under the ring. All of a sudden, you're putting people through fucking tables and stuff. So, I think that's the biggest thing.
Everybody likes a good table spot, though. Everybody likes a good table spot.
But that's the biggest thing, though, with the Elimination Chambers. It's just such a setup and preparation and different things like that.
Year.
Yeah, so like that's why it's such a meaningful thing. You don't have it.
Honorable mention to the War Games match.
No,
two rings, such a good setup.
Honorable mention to the bikini contests, the matches that they used to have.
I knew. Why did I know? Why did I know Eric was going to bring up like the bikini or brawn panties match?
Yeah, honorable mention.
That's a good segue to my least favorite gimmick matches, which is the brawn panties match.
What? They were so good.
No, they were awful. They were awful, and they were sexist, and they did such a terrible job in like keeping the women's spots down on wrestling cards. I'm so glad that those are a thing of the past, if I'm being honest, because I like watching actual female professional wrestlers go out and do real staged combat, I guess, is the nicest way to put it. Because you can't really say real with wrestling because people get all bent out of shape about it. But
it's real. Fuck that. You
like
really get hurt. You really get beat up.
Professional wrestlers.
You really get hit. That shit is real, dude. Anyone that wants to say otherwise, feel free to go do it, man. Like, it is scripted, and like, yes, they know who's gonna win. That doesn't make it any less fucking real, man. Like,
yeah,
them bumps and bruises, like.
I still don't want to fall onto my back from 15 feet up. Like,
no, I don't want to go through a goddamn
like a good time.
Yeah, I don't want to get hit with a chair or go through a fucking table, regardless of what they did to it.
Now, the kendo stick to the back is the spot that always makes me wince, because I've been hit with a kendo stick, and that hurts so bad. Especially if they don't get you right on one of the reeds. If they get you between two reeds, it not only hits you, it then expands because there's some flex to the bamboo, and then pinches you and then rips that skin away. It hurts so bad.
You know,
awful.
I moved to Salt Lake several years ago. There used to be, before COVID, like a indie promotion here.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to several shows, and they were pretty good. And they had like fat dudes. So I was like, cool, I'm going to join this. It's like fun. And I went to the show where I was going to go talk to the promoter, and it was like their hardcore night. And they were literally using a cheese grater on this guy's face, just ripping the skin off. I was like, actually, I changed my mind. I'm good.
Yeah.
At what point, man?
I'll just pay for my seat and just cheer that guy on.
That's all I did. I totally bailed on talking to that guy, and I got no regret.
Yeah, I realized when I took that shot with the kendo stick where it pinched and then ripped out a chunk of skin off of me that I was like, I couldn't do this.
Mm-mm.
Like week in, week out. There's just no way. Like, in no reality would I have any enjoyment doing that. Because I always thought it's like it'd be cool to get people to, cheer your name and stuff in a crowd or whatever.
There's always that do that at the bar.
Cheer for you? That's true. I'm sure, yeah. Shotgun another beer, Eric. He's like, yeah.
That's
You're
me.
Pretty American. Canadian.
Oh, I'm very American.
He 50-50s it.
I like my Coors Light.
It's my favorite, bad beer is Coors Light. If I'm being honest, I will drink the heck out of it, but it's not a great beer.
I'm not saying it's magical or anything, but there's just something about it. Brings back memories. You enjoy it.
My dad used to work for Coors.
You get it from a mountain.
Sure. It's okay.
Yeah. It's healthy for you. It's mostly water, so it's good for you, actually.
Yeah, there's like ice or something from mountains used.
Oh my gosh. So Eric, honorable mention from Eric for the bra and panties match. Probably one of my least favorite things. One of the things that I'm glad is in the past, if I'm being perfectly honest. I think my least favorite stipulation match is still the evening gown match. Unless you want to watch a really, really, really good evening gown match. And that's Pat Patterson versus Gerald Briscoe. I'll put that one on the list of okay evening gown matches between those two gentlemen. All the other ones, terrible. It's a dumb stipulation. It doesn't make any sense. Trying to explain it to people that are not wrestling fans, they're just like, what?
Like, so you watch two men fake fight dressed in drag. Are you okay?
Yeah. You're fucking close. Like, as Shane Gillis told Joe Rogan, you're fucking close, dude. You may not be gay, but you're fucking close. Like, the evening gown matches were absolutely awful.
But if you look at a lot of times,
the single worst stipulation match ever, though. We'll get to that one. I'm going to close the show with that one. Scott and I talked about it before we started the podcast. We're going to talk about the absolute worst stipulation situation ever. We'll go, since we did my least favorite, let's go with Scott. What's your least favorite stipulation match?
I'm going to call it a draw between two, only because I don't understand the rules of either one, and they're kind of similar. But the Battle Royals from TNA and AEW, good luck understanding any of that. So I wrote down the rules, and they are the most convoluted bullshit. Okay, so TNA's Reverse Battle Royal.
Did you have to throw somebody into the ring?
On the outside of the ring, they have to fight to get over the top rope into the ring. The first 7 men to come over the top rope then have to fight and throw everybody else back over the top rope. The last two in that have a normal match, and then the winner of that becomes number one contender.
It's a lot. That's so much.
Does that make sense? Because it doesn't at all to me.
No. Why not just do a regular over-the-top Royale?
Because they have to be different.
Yeah.
The AEW Casino Battle Royal. I'm going to read this off to you. I read this like 10 times. I still don't get it. Wrestlers have selected a card from a special deck. The suite of the deck they selected determines their group. Every 3 minutes, they shuffle the deck to see which suit comes up. After all suits have been exhausted, the wrestler who drew the Joker card will be the last to enter. But like, how do they determine what suite? Like, I don't follow this whatsoever.
It sounds like Elimination Chamber with extra steps because it's the random entrant, right, for Elimination Chamber. But I know the Casino Battle Royale because that's for the poker chip that hangs above the ring that gets you like a title shot or whatever. Same as like it's like a cross between Elimination Chamber and Money in the Bank. It feels like.
I still don't get it. Like, it seems like a Royal Rumble. You bring like 30 guys out based on card decks. But like, how do they determine if you're a spade? How do you fit into this when you go out? And what is the logic? I just don't get it. It's so fun. And they're trying to make people pay money to watch this.
Yeah, and there's 21 entrants, five per suit, and then the Joker gets to be the last one in.
So they just draw a spade, and then of the 5 guys who've drawn a spade, they're like, "Oh, I'll take it." I don't understand.
I
don't know. I just feel like those are the worst. That's just someone sitting in a room.
Oh, it's the whole group. It's the whole group. So, like, if you drew like clubs or whatever, you go out into the ring with all the other clubs.
Well, they all go out at once.
That's even dumber.
5 at a time. 3 groups of 5. Yeah, four groups of 5, and then the Joker is the wild card that gets to come. Which it's not really a wild card if he's coming in last. It's just the last entrant. God.
This is why other companies don't succeed, man. They overcomplicate everything. WWE is so smart. Royal Rumble. Everybody runs into the fucking ring. You get thrown out.
They've had some really complicated stipulation match there because there was a tables, ladders, chairs, and stairs match though between Big Show and
Eric Rowan.
Yeah,
I saw
and you had to pin them with the stairs. Like, it's a dumb stipulation.
But they get rid of them when they don't work. They don't keep them around. They're not like, let's do it again and see if it works. They're like, no, fuck this.
Tony Khan snorting coke off a hooker in the background. Like, let's do it again.
Run it. Tony, like I said, again, Scott and I talked about this before the show started, man. AEW's hunting the spot and not hunting the story right now, and it's really hurting them. It's really hurting that company to hunt spots so heavily. But again, we talked about that on this podcast too on a previous episode, so go back and watch. We talked about spot versus story, and it's a tough balance to find these days because you want things to be exciting, but at the same time, man, I want a match to have some feeling in it.
Yeah, but if I can watch your entire company's show in one YouTube short and then be off on my way, that's not a good way to make me want to come back.
AEW, look in your direction. Hint, hintity, hint, hint.
But WWE needs competition, so AEW ain't going anywhere.
I mean, and they're doing fine overall. Like, AEW is doing fine. They're not the powerhouse that they were 3 years ago, I don't think, as far as like draw goes. But I think they're doing fine, and I think they need to hit their stride, and I think they really need to focus on less input from the wrestlers, which was a big problem in WWE where they had no input. You've got to start finding that balance where wrestlers get to have a little bit of creative control. That way they're invested in the stories that they're telling. And at the same time, you need to have people in the back that are going like, hey, maybe body slamming somebody off of a 30-foot building is not going to be, or a 30-story building is not going to be believable because, like, it's going to kill somebody. And, like, people are going to know that. So don't just toss somebody over the edge because they know that they're going to get caught like 10 feet below. It doesn't make sense.
That's why nobody likes the Fast and the Furious movies anymore. Well, unbelievable.
They will never, ever. The first one.
I did. The first 2 or 3 were good. They were believable. I mean, they were nice.
Yank the chains back into the professional wrestling world. The Money in the Bank that was the race to the top of the building in Stamford, Connecticut. That was a terrible Money in the Bank stipulation, and they've never done it again. Because again, somebody got tossed off the edge of the building.
It was a COVID thing. Like,
did that person die?
Excusable, but
like, they threw Asuka off the side of a building, for Christ's sake. Like, that's not your least favorite is Money in the Bank.
Yep.
Or just that particular Money in the Bank?
No, Money in the Bank. It's like a cheap way to get some. It's a cheap way to get someone a title shot. It's just fucking.
It's
that.
such a man. I don't know, because you can use that for so many easy storylines. It's a good way to pivot an entire story if something gets stale. Not to mention, it can become this menacing threat. Edge, perfect example. Probably one of the most devastating Money in the Bank contract holders ever. Because if you knew Edge had that contract, you could not be weak ever.
Listen, I'm going to throw Seth Rollins in there too, because he literally went on to steal the main event of WrestleMania, which I was there for live.
Perfect
That
example.
crowd was
jealous.
Berserk. That was one of the best things I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's so, like, I gotta say that Money in the Bank definitely doesn't belong on the worst list. That is such a good way to do so many. It's a good way to enhance a talent. It's a good way to tell story. It's a good way to make someone look dangerous, because even if they're not the most powerhouse of wrestlers, all they have to do is bide their time and use it right. Like, it's such a good way for any face to turn heel or any heel to look even more scummy.
Not fan. I always thought it was just a cheap way to get someone a title shot without story or like earning it or anything like that.
No, those are number one contenders matches for people on the lower part of the mid card. I always hated those. They're like, this is for the number one contender match, and it's Steve Blackman versus Al Snow, and I'm like, neither one of those people are winning a title, so why are we having this? Like,
hey, they could win a hardcore title. You don't know.
they're not. Like, they're just gonna feed those dudes to the wolf. Which, poor Al Snow. So many terrible gimmicks. So many
loved Al
terrible
Snow.
gimmicks. I like Al Snow, but his gimmicks were so bad. Like, his storylines were always awful. Again, another one from the Attitude Era that was just bad storytelling.
What did he do with Dude Love? He was Dude Love's tag partner for a while. What was his character name?
He had a big feud. It was always just Al Snow, as far as I remember.
Mm-hmm.
It was always Al Snow. He talked to the mannequin head.
Because everybody loves him.
Yeah, Perry Saturn stole it one time. He was in love with a mop. No, that was Perry Saturn. They made fall in love with the mop. But like,
That's
Al
the kind
Snow,
of stupid shit I love.
Yeah, Perry Saturn kidnapped Al Snow's mannequin head and was holding it hostage. Like,
they made a whole movie about that, Castaway. They did.
I'm never going to look at that movie.
I'm never going to be able to take that seriously. It's just the story of Al Snow and his mannequin head.
Yeah, played by Tom Hanks and volleyball.
Just overly dramatized documentary of Al Snow's relationship with a mannequin head. That's
how he fell in love.
Listen, I'm going to be photoshopping that into that movie as soon as we're done here.
For sure, send it to me. Send it to me.
Yeah,
we'll post it on the Crossing the Nerdverse site.
Yeah,
like, that's going to be the thumbnail for this episode.
Love it.
That's so good, Eric. I got to give you that one. That's 1,000 on that one. That's so good. Yeah. Oh man. So
Al Snow was a good wrestler though. Like he was
sure.
Like he could perform. Like, isn't he running a league? Not a league. I always say league because I think sports.
He runs a school. I think he runs a wrestling school.
I thought he ran an actual wrestling program, like somewhere. Like it used to be a big named program, but now it's like kind of fallen on bad times or something. I thought I saw like they were doing like live TV with it too or something, following him while he was doing it.
He's currently the head trainer and co-owner of OVW.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh God, he got old. That's terrifying. He does not look the same with short hair and a goatee. Holy smokes, that is a different human being.
He's like jacked too. He looks like a mountain now.
But he always played the gullible guy before, so you couldn't be jacked doing that. It would have been weird.
I mean, even like in his heyday, he was still really like well built. Like, he was a pretty strong looking dude.
Yeah, but he always gave off the vibe of like creepy weirdo.
Well, that's just how they booked him.
Yeah, I mean that's why you couldn't be too jacked, because like what creepy weirdo is super jacked?
Al Snow. I'll never get over him holding the mannequin head up and doing like the headbang thing with it. Poor Al Snow. He deserved better.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, how many wrestlers can you think of where it was the gimmick that killed them and not their abilities?
So many. There was a lot of wrestlers that had great gimmicks that still died because of backstage heat. Like, backstage politics will get you every time if you're not careful. Taz being the perfect example of backstage politics, killing somebody who had a great gimmick, great mic work, and great in-ring skills. Backstage politics killed Taz.
Yeah. Who had one of the best debuts of all time.
Oh, yeah. like the human suplex machine. But he wasn't well liked backstage, and he didn't.
Don't be a
It's not
douche.
that you have to play. He wasn't a douche, though. It's just that he didn't play the political game, so he never bothered to counter any of the people staging against him backstage. He chose to like try and ignore it, and it bit him because there was no dissenting opinion. So yeah, that's to me, Taz is just the top of having everything you need to be a successful professional wrestler, and then your career just dying because of backstage politics. But yeah, we have to get on to our last and final of the terrible, terrible gimmick matches, and that is the. Oh, I looked up the name and then I forgot what it was. The barbed wire
Oh, the
something.
AEW match.
Yeah, the AEW exploding barbed wire death match between Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley, which again, Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley in combination, fantastic match. Everything in that match, devastating looking. It was terrifying. There was a time limit, which is also something I wish they would bring back in WWE a little more. Is being like, this match is scheduled for 20 minutes. And then having it go to the buzzer every once in a while is something I think WWE could do that would be like a big thumbs up. Because that gives you those draws when you can have two people that it's an easy way to have two people at the top of the card not look weak is to have them go to a time limit. That way both sides get to look very strong. But I digress. This one, March 9th, that wasn't March 9th, it's 2021. AEW Revolution. The ropes were replaced with barbed wire, and if you touched them, it set off like a series of explosions, which was just like
Just too
spark flares,
much.
which is fine. Well, the spark
Too
flares would
much.
happen right around where they were hitting the barbed wire ropes, and it was fine. At the end of it, though, was
It's too much,
awful.
man.
Yeah, it was. And
yeah.
I can pinpoint that exact moment of when I stopped watching AEW. It was that pay-per-view. I was like, nope, I'm good. And I never went back to watch it again. It was too dumb.
Well,
Yeah,
they try to take things too far. Like, dude, we know, like, I don't know, it's an overplayed thing. Like, they're not really, like, anything that bad's gonna happen, and it's just like, fuck, man, come on.
spot hunting
Like,
is it is the biggest problem with AEW right now is spot hunting. But that one, notoriously bad. The explosion at the end, I have seen more devastating explosions in my backyard holding a handful of sparklers than what happened in that ring.
Eric, have you seen that?
no.
Oh, bring it up on YouTube and just watch the ending of it. They should have some pretty
Man,
short
it's so
clips that are only a
stupid.
few seconds long. It's terrible, man.
It's even worse to watch than you can imagine it is.
After watching two people that are so good in the ring, that had such good ring chemistry with one another between Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega, the match leading up to that point, great. Like, any work that both of those guys do is going to be really good.
They're just going to bleed everywhere, though. That's my problem.
It did
come on,
lead
bud.
to the joke that Jon Moxley bleeds in every match, which has held kind of true. Jon Moxley bleeds a lot.
They're not that serious, man. Come on.
But Kenny Omega doesn't bleed all that often, and even he bled for this match, which makes it a little more impactful, right, than Jon Moxley, who stabs himself in the head with a fork, It's just, yeah.
He's
Everything
never
about
going
it was
back to
so good.
WWE.
The timer hit 0. No, he's happy in AEW. He's happy doing this type of wrestling.
They let
that
him
he
bleed
likes.
all over the place. Like, yeah, bud, you can just do what you want.
It's not just the bleeding. They're letting him do a character that he likes to do. He likes being Jon Moxley as opposed to Dean Ambrose, which is fine. Like I said, he's happy in AEW, and I'm happy for him there. Like, I'm glad he's having a good time. Let the man do the type of wrestling he wants to do. If he's doing it in AEW and he's having a good time, that's where he should stay. If for whatever reason he decides to come back to WWE, I will never be upset getting a brief Shield reunion.
That's fair.
Just because that's a fun one to go nuts over for like a few months and then be like, okay, I'm ready for the implosion. Like, who's turning on who first? Is it going to be Rollins's again? Is it going to be Dean Ambrose this time? Is it finally going to be Roman Reigns turning on those two guys? Like, where are we going with this? But yeah, the ending of the match was like the timer hit 0. It was supposed to be this like explosion and then cut to black. That's how it was supposed to be staged. The explosion was like some pop caps and sparklers with a little bit of smoke. And then they held too long because I think the cameraman was like, that can't be the explosion, is it? It was. That was it. That was what it was supposed to be. So they held too long and didn't cut to black like they were supposed to, which I do like a good cut to black in a wrestling show every once in a while.
Yeah.
I like to see somebody come out and like just drill somebody with a chair and then just be like, well, we're out of time, folks, and then just cut out.
My favorite part of that was Eddie Kingston trying to cover Mox or whoever it was, and he's like pretending like it's actual World War III while there's sparklers going off around him.
Yeah, he's like holding his head like, yeah.
I turned it off. I'm like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
It was supposed to be, honestly, they'd have done a better job if they would have staged some like flashbangs around.
Mm-hmm.
Had the big boom and explosion with like the flashbangs and maybe some stuff with like sparks or whatever, big like instantaneous smoke bombs, but it was like legit fireworks sparklers. Like picture Goldberg's entrance like sparks. Like
it wasn't even that impressive.
You should have done it in the parking lot and used real flashbangs. That would have made it good.
Hell yeah.
John Moxley probably eat a real flashbang if you told him it was going to be on TV. That dude will do whatever. I love it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he would have been okay with being flashbanged and then wrestling. That's a new match type right there. For don't copyright me, AEW. Just saying, it's my match.
I gotta say, that one's number one on like terrible ending for a gimmick match. Close second to terrible match was the Mountain Dew Dark match with LA Knight and Bray Wyatt. Sad that was Bray Wyatt's final match.
Yeah.
To go out on such a weird black light,
Mountain Dew,
glow in the dark stipulation. Oh god, that was towards the end of the McMahon storytelling
Stone
influence.
Cold and The Rock beat the shit out of each other in the ring.
No, honestly, the best, like, just beat the shit out of each other still has to be Stone Cold and Booker T in the grocery store.
Oh,
that was a good one.
It was so good.
Stone Cold really beat him.
You want to make a cake? And he's like poured milk all over. You need to drink your milk, Book. It'll make you big and strong. And then like he takes a minute and just chugs some of the milk. Look at all just running down the front of it, throws flour on him. I was like, "Let's make a birthday cake, Book," and he's just throwing bags of flour at him and stuff. It was so good.
I wish
some crackers to go with your milk and just beans him with some saltines. Like,
I wish somebody would make a compilation of just Booker T's facial expressions. I'd love that.
So good. The best Booker T moment forever is still going to be him calling his own match.
Yeah.
And TNA was still so good.
I didn't see it.
Oh, you should watch it. It's hilarious. He came in from the announce desk and like has his microphone while he's in the ring. He's like, Booker T putting the boots to, and I forget who he's kicking, but he's just stomping on this guy while he's talking about what he's doing. Looks like Booker T's winding up for a big kick, and he'd kick a guy, and like, it's so good. Like I said, Booker T is just an absolute gem.
You ever notice that most of the people who say are really good on the mic are from the Attitude Era? Not just Attitude, but I mean like WCW around the same time as the Attitude Era.
No, because we've got a lot of people we got a lot of people in the current era that can really cut a mean promo if they get turned loose. Like if they're given enough freedom and creative control. LA Knight, a great guy on the mic, so charismatic.
But like
Samoa Joe, out of the history of everyone, in my opinion, Samoa Joe probably one of the best mic workers ever. I can't pick a consistent promo from him, but every time he gets on the mic, I'm like, he's about to tear somebody to shreds.
Yeah.
But like they don't do anything that's like so memorable like the old guys used to do.
Like there's Samoa Joe bringing up the fact that AJ Styles came from like a really like easy and relaxed background. The fact that he made fun of AJ Styles for being a youth minister for so long, like he'll bring so many real world elements to sprinkle into these promos. Yes. It's so good. Samoa Joe absolutely just devastating to people on that microphone. And I got to give it to Solo Sikoa. Not bad mic work. In all honesty, he does a pretty good job on the mic.
Solo?
For modern era. Solo Sikoa, yeah, his stuff. Oh, his promos with Jacob Fatu, the stuff that they do backstage.
I think
when they get into it, so good. Him and Jacob Fatu, lots of good chemistry.
Solo could be fired tonight, and I would never miss him.
Oh, I like Solo Sikoa. I do. I really do like Solo Sikoa. I think he's on his way to being like a main Carter, in my opinion. I think he's going to be somebody that floats around the title.
The matches where someone can't work anymore or whatever. bring them back.
Those are always those still happen. Those happen all the time.
And then they last.
They really can't work anymore, though. Like, let's really cut some dead weight.
Just really enforce it. Like, nope, you lost. You're out forever. Just not get hired at other companies either.
Like, but don't tell the wrestlers. So, like, when the match is over, like a lawyer comes out and he's like, "No, you're really fired, dude. Fuck off."
Just really make it. Just bring that sense of realism back to WWE. Kenny Omega does a good job on the mic. Again,
but I'm talking like memorable moments though. Like, there's just like, how many do like The Rock and So Cold? The ones I always think of because it's so many.
It's because you watched them like more. Like, you were more into it when you watched them. Is probably why they stick with you more. Because like, you want to talk about promos. Because again, Kenny Omega cutting his promo against Hangman Adam Page when they were both going after the title, absolutely devastating. Every single one of those promos that Kenny Omega cut against him. I mean, he almost it got to the point where he's getting kind of rough to look at Hangman Adam Page. Is like, you stop feeling credible when Kenny Omega just rips you every single week, and like, your response is, "I work hard." Like, that only goes so far. So yeah, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks cut pretty solid promos together. Again, sprinkling in that sense of realism. They cut a really, really good set of promos against
and what's his
Brian
name?
Pillman. What was the tag team that Brian Pillman Jr. was in?
No clue.
AEW? Varsity Blondes.
Travis, I think the problem is I'd have to watch AEW to see any of these promos, and nobody does.
Nobody does. Seth Rollins cuts fantastic promos. Again, modern wrestler cutting fantastic promos.
None of them that are bad, but like even when I look like earlier promos, like the Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Bret Hart, and things like that, like before Attitude, because Bret Hart was out before Attitude. Like, I don't even remember a lot of those promos, but like, it's just that Attitude era. Like,
Bret Hart never cut a good promo anyway. Like, let's just throw that out there.
Like, but everybody did the sharpshooter growing up. What's the one you love from D-Generation X that always did it? Like
Shawn Michaels?
No, old boy.
Road Dogg.
Yeah, like shit like that doesn't come along like anymore. Like, I don't know what they got to do to get people like memorable moments on the mic, but like shit like that.
I think I side with you on this one. Like, there's no crowd interaction. Like, the crowd's not looking forward to now, screaming someone's catchphrase. Because Travis, you're sitting here talking like about all this stuff, and like, to me, the last one that people like really talk about is Punk's pipe bomb. That was like 13 years ago.
Yeah, 15.
15?
Something like that.
There's good talkers now, but there's not another Rock.
I think but overall, like, there's way more people that can cut a promo now than there ever was in the Attitude Era. You had like 4 to 5 people at any given time that could cut a devastating promo, and now you have a lot of people that can cut good promos.
I think we definitely had quality then, and now we have
quantity.
Quantity, I think, to some degree, because there's a lot of guys now.
I think there's a lot more good. I think there's a lot more good promos now, and there's fewer people that get billed as like a great promo. Because again, it's a lot of how you build up. Also, the problem with it now is that kayfabe's essentially gone.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, kayfabe's not where it was in the Attitude Era.
Although, the best promo work I've seen in probably 10 years is Punk and McIntyre with each other. That was like some A+ stuff.
That was good. Honestly, Kevin Owens, I could rattle off a few of his promos in recent memory that have been absolutely devastating. I'm going to hold this title hostage until I get what I want promo, where he was holding the Wing and Eagle belt to get another title shot against Cody. Fantastic promo.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens talking about the wrestling tropes promos were so good. He would be out cutting a promo against somebody, and they'd mention somebody else, and he's like, stop saying their name, or they'll show up. And then they said their name again, and of course the music hit, and he goes, what did I tell you? He's like, you can't say other wrestlers' names because then they appear. Like, those promos were so good from Kevin Owens, making him look like he's the last sane person on the planet. And in all honesty, in recent memory, Kevin Owens is the only one acting like how a normal human being would act in those situations. Like, that is how a real person would. And they're like, he's acting like a crazy person. I was like, I feel like everybody else around him a little crazy. Like, Kevin Owens is the only one I'm identifying with right now. That's why I was rooting for him and all those. I'm like, yeah, beat the hell out of Sami Zayn.
No,
do it again to Cody Rhodes. Like, do it. Like, it's
for me the big difference from just like not watching it all the time but catching stuff is just now it is more story driven, like everywhere, like through the whole thing. Like when you used to watch WWE, especially during the Attitude Era, like there was really only one, maybe one and a half stories going at a time. There wasn't what there is now, where there's so many different things. Like, yes, there was feuds and stuff, but to me, it was a lot more around a central group of people, like a clique. Like, it always had to do with them. It wasn't everybody like it is now. So I will give you, like, now I feel like there's more. We're at the age of like where like the Avengers. There's a bunch of fucking characters that everybody's got to get to know. Where Attitude had like you said, like there was 4 or 5 guys, but nothing will beat the quality of that time.
And in all honesty, name a single Undertaker promo.
No, I can't. Like, I'm not disagreeing. Yeah, but he had the
great one.
Well, that's because he had all the great gimmicks though to go with it. Like when he used to put people in the casket and stuff like that. Like, that shit.
He told his stories in the ring.
Yeah.
But we're getting really long on time, so we're gonna have to bring this episode to a close. We have been talking about specialty matches. We got off on a little tirade talking about promos there at the end, which, by the way, we've talked about that in the previous episode too. So again, there's another little hint. Check out some of the old episodes there. We will continue our month of wrestling talk next week, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Follow us wherever you get your podcast from. We are everywhere: Apple, Amazon, Spotify. So wherever you like to listen to your podcasts, we're out there.
Yeah.
And keep an eye out for that fantastic Photoshop meme that Scott's going to provide for us. We'll throw it up on the page and put it for the thumbnail of this episode, because that's just absolutely going to be too much to just Photoshop Al Snow's head over Tom Hanks's body for Castaway. That was absolutely just devastating. So yeah, with that, happy WrestleMania week, everybody. I will again do our traditional WrestleMania post on Facebook, giving little announcements and stuff that's going on, because I will in fact be watching that one live. And we will catch you next week. Thanks for joining us.
Is it gonna work? All the connections turned off. Bye, everybody.
Bye.